So good morning. I'm Shish. I'm part of the Azure IoT engineering team, and I'm delighted to actually talk about AI at the edge today. I've got Greg Gomez from Neil Analytics as well, who's going to be sharing a whole lot of examples of how AI is being used at the edge. I've spent many years in the retail team within Microsoft, for about 15 years of my 24. And during that time, I focused primarily on AI implementations and how AI can help retail. Lately, I've been part of the IoT team, and it's been interesting to see the convergence of the two, IoT and AI, where AI is really moving to the edge. I'm going to switch off my camera at this point and switch over to the presentation. Let me call out Greg.
All right, Greg's going to present this?
Yes, Greg is going to be sharing the screen. Is it coming on?
All right, Greg, we've made you the presenter. There we go.
Super. Thank you, Greg. And if you go to the next slide, as I was saying, the key thing that we're really seeing is AI really pushing it out to the edge. And we've kind of gone through this whole journey of where, we went to a centralized model, everything, all of the processing and computing going to the cloud and getting centralized, going away from the devices. And we're now coming to the capabilities and requirements, making it essential for a lot of the processing to happen at the edge, and that decentralizing or distribution happening all over again. And we're seeing a lot of interesting aspects where data is being collected and needs to be processed right at the edge for many reasons. So if you go to the next slide, a couple of reasons that we see AI at the edge becoming really critical. And I would say, looking at all of the use cases that I've been working with in retail, the one that really stands out, one reason I would say that AI at the edge is sort of a differentiator for retail would be the privacy aspect. And this is mainly from a video processing perspective, where a lot of the scenarios and use cases that we're seeing with IoT at the edge is about vision AI, about recognizing things, recognizing products, recognizing whether a product exists on the shelf, using loss prevention scenarios, and so on. And for a lot of these cases, when there is privacy involved, regulations require that no video leaves the premises of the store. And as a result, the processing of that video needs to happen at the edge and not in the cloud. And that's one reason we're seeing where privacy is a core aspect of the requirements for retail. The other aspect, of course, is if you look in here, bandwidth is another aspect where, for many of these sensors we used in IoT, and this could be temperature and others, the amount of data that's going to the cloud is fairly minimal. But when it comes to video, it is huge amount of data, and that can be expensive. And that's, again, another reason why edge processing becomes critical as well. Latency, from a retail perspective, there are very specific scenarios that involve automation. With COVID, we've seen a lot of automation take place in warehouses. There's been a big spike in uptake on pick and pack robots and so on within the store, stores converting to micro warehouses. And for all of these scenarios, latency was a key aspect for the robots to be able to quickly process that information and respond to it without doing a round trip to the cloud. And those are some of the scenarios we've seen as well, where AI at the edge matters. And of course, in many situations where you have retail stores spread around the world, there is connectivity issues in some areas that requires a lot of that processing to happen on the edge and not in the cloud. And so that's the other reason we see AI at the edge become critical as well from a retail perspective. Greg, if you go to the next slide. The other aspect that we're also seeing, and as the IoT team, we are working with an ecosystem of partners like Neil Analytics and others. And COVID has also highlighted a lot of scenarios, and some of them are around automation. The number, specifically for grocery, a lot of people have been reducing the number of trips to the grocery. And the end goal for many grocery retailers is really to make grocery retailing seamless and frictionless and ambient in a way. And towards that vision, a lot of the solutions that we've seen accelerated during the pandemic has been around autonomous reordering. So if you look at some of the capabilities that we are collaborating with some of our partners around Edge and IoT, if you look at the first subsection on the slide on the left, the autonomous reordering bit, where a lot of customers are saying, it's the same things that I reorder every month, every week, and there's a pattern to it. Is there a way we can use AI to understand those patterns and convert them to an automated subscription? And that's what many retailers are doing today. In addition to that, there might be certain products that do not have a very fixed pattern. And for those, if we are looking at IoT-based scenarios where you have sensors in the containers that will detect the threshold and determine, are you running out of coffee? Are you running out of certain products based on sensors that those products are kept in, and automatically reorder them? And this is similar to what's happening in stores, where on the shelf, when something is running out, it'll automatically kick off a reorder process. And that same process is being repeated in the pantry, in the kitchen, in the refrigerator as well. And IoT plays a big part in that. And that order, when it goes into the retailer, it determines what's the closest micro warehouse, that is the brick and mortar store, to you. And it sends that order to that store, and then you have robotics and pick and pack robots that will actually pick up the order, assemble the order for you, and then there is the autonomous delivery aspect as well. So there is partner ecosystems that we're working with that are in the autonomous reordering, the autonomous fulfillment, pick and pack, and also the autonomous delivery space. Here is again examples where AI and IoT converge, and we're seeing a lot of activity happen in the space. And with that, I'm going to hand it over to Greg Gomez from Neil Analytics, who's going to talk about some real life examples of what Neil Analytics has been doing with AI and IoT. And before I hand it over to Greg, if it's possible, Greg, I'd love you to play that video. Thank you.
In today's highly competitive marketplace, grocery retailers strive to create a seamless shopping experience that drives sales and builds loyalty with their customers. IoT-connected devices such as beacons, video cameras, digital signage, and smart shelves provide access to huge amounts of new data on customer activity and present more opportunities for sophisticated insights and immersive customer engagement. IoT data is used to track the effectiveness of store layouts, exposure to promotions, product interactions, and use of digital kiosks and mobile apps. This data is analyzed in real time to create deep insights into customer preferences and path to purchase. Digital assistance allows customers to find the items on their list, interest them in new products, and select promotions to save money. And for marketers, identifying customer desire, delivering curated content to upsell and cross-sell, and measuring the success of promotions has never been simpler and more accurate. IoT provides service-level metrics and enables store managers to eliminate long queues, schedule staff efficiently through cognitive intelligence, and make sure customer expectations are being met at every service point in the store. IoT, revolutionizing the retail experience.